Hello, this is John. Welcome to the Weekly Water Outlook, National Edition, January 26, 2014. Well, really, the story this winter has been the unusual cold and in some cases the unusual amount of snow as well. But right now it looks like the polar vortex, we've heard about that now very recently. It looks like the coldest air is the purple and the teal poised in Canada. And once again, it looks like it's going to be sinking south this week, producing unusually cold temperatures. Before I get to that, let's review precipitation trends over the last week. Really the most notable recent precipitation band has been right in here. This has been a very active snow band. It's extended from the upper Midwest, North Dakota, across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then into the eastern U.S. Corn Belt, parts of the Ohio Valley. Also the northeast and eastern U.S., and that's been a very active type precipitation pattern that has been occurring for a number of weeks, and that was again last week the more active region. So we look at percent of normal. That is the area that really had normal to above normal precipitation. Elsewhere across the country, as we see here in red, it was actually a very quiet week with very little significant precipitation. Red is indicating percent of normal of only 25% or less. Now, it's a very cold week as well over the eastern U.S., and we've really seen this dividing line here over pretty much like in this area here. Coldest temperatures have sort of been coming right in this area right here, and then warm temperatures out in the west, warm and dry in the west. But really the core of the coldest temperatures have sort of been the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley. And over the last 7 days, we can see that that's where the temperatures were the coldest, 10 to 20 degrees, and sometimes even more below normal over that region. Now, as far as snow goes, there was quite a bit of snow along that band I just mentioned. The green here is indicating 8 inches or more. So generally light amounts of precipitation as far as snow, a couple inches to 1 to 3 inches. But then as we get in northern Illinois, along the Great Lakes states, quite a bit more, and also some active bands over the eastern U.S. Again, orange is about 4 to 8. The green is 8 to 12. So you can look at the areas that receive the most snowfall. Now, the snowpack so far this winter has not been really unusually far south. This is the extent of it at the current time, and I really haven't seen much extent further south. It's really been extending right, like I said, in this band right here, and the purple here, this is the heaviest snow cover. So parts of eastern North Dakota, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and a large part of Michigan, that's really been the heaviest snow so far this year. Now this week, as far as steering winds go, remember the yellows and reds are the more dynamic or stronger winds in the atmosphere, and that's generally where we will get the most weather. And there's one band over the upper part of the Midwest here, another band in the south, and those are the active bands this week. But I think really what is very interesting here is the Arctic Oscillation. Now keep in mind the Arctic Oscillation is an imbalance in atmospheric pressure, and it gives an idea of temperature trends as we look forward. Now this is blue's the past. These are individual model runs, and the black is the forecast. Well, look at this week. Look how far it gets here. Now, if it's above this line, it's positive. If it's below this line, it's negative. It's getting extremely negative this week, rebounds a bit, and then as we get into the middle part of February, it stays negative. So keep in mind, extremely negative this week, and I wanted to show you, sort of put that in perspective here. This is the reading this week, and let's go back all the way through winter. This is the most negative the Arctic Oscillation is forecast to be with this next push of Arctic air. But I think also, as I've indicated here in the purple circle, right as we get into February, it remains in a negative phase, and depending on what model run, from a moderately negative to a strongly negative. So I think that gives us some trend indication as we get into the month of February. But getting back to this week, this is the middle of the week. We can have some idea of the coldest Arctic air. That's the area in purple. But this brighter purple here, this is 30 to 40 degrees below normal. So we're looking at some of the coldest air of the season from the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, parts of the middle Mississippi River Valley into the Ohio Valley. But even green is unusually cold air, and that extends into parts of the southeast U.S. and even the deep south. If we look at the amount of precipitation, generally I think the area to watch as far as snowfall is the area right in this band in here, the middle part of the nation, middle and the east. There's also a chance of some snow along the coast right in this area here. And if we look at the snow forecast, since most of this is snow, light amounts of snow in the upper Midwest, but this is really the area right in here that looks like the heaviest amounts of snow with that upper atmospheric energy. Now remember I said one band was here and then one's coming out of the south. This could bring a band of narrow snow over the south as well later in the forecast period. Okay, now let's look at trends as we get into February. This is week 2, and it looks like the Arctic or the polar vortex retreats a bit back to the north, and it sort of reestablishes over the upper Midwest with extremely cold temperatures, and over the southeast U.S., warmer than normal temperatures. So really, it looks to me like it goes from, instead of a pattern of the coldest air sort of in this region in week 1, in week 2 it sort of retreats back to the west just a bit. But very cold temperatures again week 2 in the areas in blue. Areas in orange and red could get enhanced precipitation, so it looks like the Ohio Valley still looks to me like an area that is going to continue to get enhanced precipitation in the form of snow and maybe enhanced precipitation in the form of rain over parts of the southeast U.S. Now, as we get into the middle part of February, it looks very interesting. The coldest air, as indicated in blue, February 2nd through 8th, look at February 9th and 15th. Right now, this period, to me, the brunt of February, looks extremely cold right in here. This area of blue is your 20 to 40 degree below zero, or 20 to 40 degrees below normal air, and this is the most extensive I've seen it so far this winter. So this is a number of weeks out. It's a climate model. It could change, but it looks like a large part of the U.S. could experience record-setting cold as we get into this time frame, the middle part of the month of February. As far as precipitation, it looks like dry over the upper Midwest, or trending dry or normal, and then over the southeast U.S., perhaps more snow. My interpretation of this means that it could be lighter amounts of snow over the upper Midwest, but it looks like over the southeast U.S., that colder air could be accompanied by increased chances of snowfall. So the takeaway, a cold push this week with temperatures averaging 20 to 40 below zero with blizzard conditions over the upper Midwest. And then looking out further, record cold. It might have a moderation in between that, but record cold on the way again in February. Looks like a very brutal winter is going to continue right through February. I'll be keeping you updated. If you have any questions, there's my email. Be briefing you again next weekend.